Hello and welcome. This is the first time that I'm actually having like a long form sit down, heart to heart, face to face chat about on YouTube about what my journey has been like as a first time mum and a first time mum to a baby who was stillborn. My daughter Myla Angela Viana Moraes was born on the 29th of December 2022, and I kind of wanted to share my story. And I don't yet want to share the details of my story, but I wanted to talk about the why I think it's necessary that I speak. Because when I look back at my experience, I 100% felt like I was the only person in the world that experienced this. I later learned that no, I am not, and that there's a lot of women who experience this. And sadly, a lot of us women are just silenced. But I then started to feel like I'm the only woman that looks like me who has experienced this, even though going into my pregnancy, I already knew the numbers. Like, I knew the statistics, not necessarily of women, of black women having stillborn babies, but I knew that black women are very likely to die when they give birth. Like, I remember a friend of mine sent me a resource, and her resource was Five Times More, which is a UK charity where they sort of educate you and advocate you on having safe birth and how to stand for yourself, especially when doctors don't really listen to you because you're a strong black woman and like the pain that you're feeling is really not that painful and you can hack it and all this kind of stuff. However, the very unfortunate thing that I did is when she gave me that resource, the immediate thing I said in my head was, I am not going to be a statistic. I am not a statistic. Not realizing that actually that was key information that I should have taken in. And I feel like a lot of the times in pregnancies, we are just sort of pushed this whole idea that, pregnancy is very, is brilliant, is beautiful, tragedies don't happen, and so you start to think that if you allow any negative information in, you're kind of bringing that thought process into your body, and then that's what's going to happen to you, and that's not how things work, and that's not what happens. And really, I wish I read and listened and been more open to what is out there, the resources, and just general pregnancy education. Like, I ended up using a hypnobirthing course and antenatal classes that didn't really go into detail about anything, and anything that was sort of risky, it was kind of said to me in a way that, oh, that this doesn't happen, instead of it just being very matter of fact. This is what tends to happen, these are the things, this is what could happen, not tends but maybe could, because if you're pregnant, alarm bells, right? So we have to have the right language for women, but also language that is informative so we can make decisions when things start to go wrong. And so, yeah, I remember in one of these antenatal classes, the way that, so we had like 4 classes, and the third class was about like risks. And the way that this class was sort of portrayed is like, oh, we shouldn't really, oh, this doesn't really happen. And it kind of made people feel like they could opt out to not join the class, even though it was genuine information that everyone should know regardless. And it's actually information that we should have learned in school. And it shouldn't have to be a standalone lesson. It should be part of all the other lessons, like just constantly reminding people, oh, check your baby's movements, oh, this is what this means, like preeclampsia is a thing, pre-prom is a thing, like just educate women on the languages of the precautions and the things that could potentially happen in pregnancies. And I'm very vocal about this now, and a lot of people like on my Instagram love to be like, this is rare and whatever, but I know for black women this happens a lot, and yet we are so uneducated, and it's not passed down. Like, even generationally, like my auntie experienced, that's not even passed down. I've never had that conversation with her, and I still haven't had that conversation with her. My mum was the one who told me, oh, this has happened to your auntie. And so it's like we're not speaking to each other, and we're also not learning in schools, and we're also not, when it does happen, we're not vocally talking about it. And I know that when it happened to me, like I was searching online and I just couldn't find anything, or too many things. I've been lucky I say, to now have met quite a few mums and have found a community of black women who have experienced loss, and culturally understand what it's like in terms of like family not wanting to talk about it. And then if you put religion in the mix, you start hearing things like God knows best. And I don't think that kind of language is useful or necessary. um my baby's um my baby's death was preventable. It was very preventable. Like, I had signs of preeclampsia throughout my pregnancy. um I had protein in my urine at 10 weeks, even though that's quite early on. Things like just telling me so that I am aware of what protein means and what it could potentially be. I would start to look out for things because I later in pregnancy, out of nowhere, I was swollen. But in my head, swelling is normal in pregnancy. I started getting this really terrible headache that just wouldn't go away. And then I'm thinking, oh, maybe I need to eat something or whatever. Like things like that that are key, I could have raised to my doctor and then be seen. Like my daughter, I could have had like a C-section, a scheduled C-section, and she would have been here today. So things like that. And the reason why I think it's important for me to speak is because I really believe in pushing the preventative work to help other women not go through this. And unfortunately, I know that a lot of people don't want to hear my story because they don't want to think about that happening, but it's my story that is actually more important to listen to than the positive stories, because then we start to learn, okay, what's gone wrong and what can we learn from, and make sure it doesn't happen again. And B, I really believe in continuing the relationship with our babies, because a lot of people act like, oh, they're gone, outside, out of mind, and a lot of people move like we can't speak about them anymore, and that's not fair. That's not fair on you as a parent, me as a mom. It's not fair for us to be moving like our babies are not our children. That is dehumanizing. It's so dehumanizing. Like, if a grandparent was to pass away, we wouldn't move like, oh, we can't speak about them. We'll have like all these stories to talk about them and all these beautiful things to say about when granddad did this and when granddad did that. I know we don't have experiences with our children in life, but we have moments that we spent with them whilst we were pregnant. I went to Portugal when I was pregnant with Mila. She got to quote unquote meet my grandparents because they saw me pregnant, they touched my belly. Things like that are so crucial. We can't act like it's not a thing, and we try to force parents to just attach themselves to the trauma, which is very traumatizing, of course. But I feel like it's so important for us to remind the parents that there was joy there. This is a baby who was so waited for. And it's okay for us to want to continue to speak about them. And for me personally, like, I don't want to speak for everyone else, being able to have that, continuing to have like little things that remind me of my daughter, like, I've got the memory box teddies. I've now been creating personalized storybooks. Up here I've got some seagulls that remind me of her, because on the day of her funeral there was seagulls outside our window. I've got this here, which is her hand. All these tiny little things, they make a difference, and they have helped me more than hindered me. I don't want to lock and shove away what's happened to me and then be triggered by something and not really either not understand why I'm being triggered, or it just unpacks so much more of that pain, when really and truly we should be allowing people to talk about it. And unfortunately, it's not really allowed in our communities as much. And it's crazy to me again, because like, I'm African, I'm Angolan heritage, and in our culture, way back when, before colonialism, it was a thing where we are going to acknowledge our ancestors. We are going to acknowledge the people that have gone away before us. But ever since like we've adopted colonial ways of thinking, it's like, that's barbaric. We can't be doing that. It's demonic. But it isn't. That's my family. That's my child. I'm not going to now move like that's not my baby. So I kind of just wanted to come here and say the why that I feel like I want to start talking about this. and hopefully help permit other parents to allow themselves to still include their babies instead of feeling that they have to hide their babies. Um, you know, it, they're a massive part of who we are today. Like, the person that I have become has been because of my experience with Mila. Like, I can't run away from that. And so I just incorporate it, and I feel much lighter in a way that I'm able to wear her so proudly in my day to day, like being able to speak about my kids, involve her in things. Like, me and my husband, when we go on holiday, we try to take a little something of her, or try to buy something whilst we're away that reminds us of her. Like, those things are so important. She's still our family, and she will never be forgotten. And yeah, I just wanted to come here and just share that little nugget with you guys. And the great thing about this generation is that, you know, traditionally, women who had experienced baby loss have been made to feel ashamed, have been made to be silent, have had their motherhood questioned, even though they had to push out or get their baby taken out of them. Like, they've gone through the entirety of a pregnancy, they've had a baby taken from them, they've had the postpartum, and we've just been like been told to shut up. This generation is different because we won't be quiet. We will share our experiences, we will share our love for our children, and we will hopefully, just having these conversations will hopefully stop this from happening in the first place. Like, it's 50% of stillbirths are actually preventable because things were missed. Like, preeclampsia is something that we know exists, right? And there are actually measures. That's why medicine exists, to prevent it from being fatal. Had I had aspirin, had I had a scheduled C-section, things would have been so much different. And so please, 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 if you're out there, women, if you're listening, for the mums who maybe have come across and listened to all of this and are currently pregnant and haven't had a stillbirth, just make sure you're doing your research. Make sure you really listen to your body. Learn trust what your body's telling you. Trust what your baby's communicating with you, because their movements matter. Get Count the Kicks app, because you can track your movements and then you can understand if anything's changed. Just be open to real education. Don't listen to these myths, these old wives' tales that are still being pushed down our throat when they're outdated. Know your baby does not run out of room. Know your baby does not move less later down in pregnancy. Please, please, please. And for the mothers and the fathers and the siblings and the grandparents who have lost your precious, beautiful, much loved and deserved babies, they are still a massive part of your family. Their DNA resides in us forever. They are with us forever. So feel free to love on your child as loudly or as quietly as you want. Thank you.